Grand rising, great sunset. Wherever you are and whatever you are doing, I am sending you peace and power along this spiritual journey, because that's what it is. Free family. I'm not saying this because of me. Because if you aren't, you should be focused on being free family. Free in your mind, your body, your soul, and your spirit. There is power in listening. Listening is what sets you free. When you listen, you learn. Learning is the one thing that no one can take away from you. That's what sets you free. Remember, when the mind is free, you are free indeed. So when you think about the fact that any enemy, whether that enemy is seen or unseen, the one thing the enemy attempts to do is distract you. Because the enemy knows that there is power in you listening. Whether it's you listening to yourself, your higher self, whether it's you listening to your creator, whether it's you listening to your intuition, or whether it's you listening and observing that you have an enemy. The enemy knows that there's power in listening. I need for you to know that too, family, because that's what sets you free. Listening. When you think about the environment that each of us lives in and dwells in, there are so many distractions to keep you from listening. There are so many distractions of people speaking and trying to give you messages, to be honest, family, that it's difficult to sometimes discern who you should listen to. But I'm here to say this. If it's your mind that sets you free, it's your mind, it's your spirit, it's your soul that you should be listening to. Even if you choose to listen to others. The biggest trick is distracting you and making you feel like you can't listen to yourself. Many of us have been programmed for so long with so many time-consuming things that we actually find it difficult to just sit still and listen, even especially to ourselves. That's the biggest enemy. And family, you can get a lot of things back, but time is not one of them. It's time to listen. It's time to listen to yourself, regardless if you feel the need to listen to anybody else. It's time to do the difficult work of sitting by yourself with yourself without distractions. Distractions come in every form that you can think of. People, places, things, ideas. material things, spiritual things can be distracting as well if you're not at a high frequency. Let's be clear. Everything is spiritual. Everything is energy. But when you listen, you learn. I'm going to say this again. There's power in listening. When you really listen, you know the truth. You know thyself. You know which way to move, which way you shouldn't move. You know if you need to listen outside of you, who to listen to. And you know who the enemy is. Even if the enemy is you and you've been doing things to harm yourself by not listening to what your intuition has been telling you. One thing I've realized on this journey, being given a gift as a messenger, as a speaker, that part tends to be a little easier. It's the listening that you have to learn to be obedient to and balance. And while you're listening, you have to make sure what voice you're hearing. If it's the higher self or if it's those lower realm things. Because the most difficult thing is listening, giving a message, and that's not the one the Most High told you to give. So I will say for myself and from experience, there is power in listening, family. I know that we've been trained to think that we just cannot sit by ourselves, put our cell phones down, have your family to be quiet, because sometimes we all need to be quiet. There's not one person walking that doesn't need to be more in tune with themselves. But you have to learn how to listen in order to learn how to be in tune with yourself. And it's not easy. But it's difficult to keep missing opportunities, to keep making bad decisions, to keep hurting yourself, to keep running away from your healing because you won't listen. And it's difficult when you are getting warnings before destructive things occur and you miss them because of the distractions and sometimes out of your own disobedience of not just sitting still and listening. Remember, I said it's not necessarily about listening outside of yourself. The most important thing you can ever do is listen to you. The voice that you hear. What your intuition is leading you to do or not do. The feelings that you have that are guiding you. There are so many ways to listen that we miss, family. So many ways. But regardless of where you are, this is school down here. And we also go to school within this realm. And there is one thing for sure. There's no way to learn unless you listen. When the teacher is speaking, if you're speaking, you can't hear. You can't comprehend. You don't know what's being said. There may not always be a time for you to raise your hand and ask a question, family. This is the time when every one of us needs to learn how to sit still and listen, because there will not be a pop quiz for this test or the tests that are coming. There will not be a study guide. It's time to listen. There is power in listening, and the enemy knows it. They know it all too well. But the funny part is that the enemy knows how to listen. That's how the enemy knows how to trick you. Whoever you see the enemy as, they know how to listen. They know how to study you, to know what to do to defeat you. So if you feel like every message that's been given to you is some type of conspiracy or some type of fear tactic or something that just sounds crazy, that's perfectly fine. But when have you taken the time to listen for yourself, to yourself? Because that's more powerful than anything that you can hear outside of you. Listening helps you learn. If you're getting any kind of warning before anything that's going to take place, it's not to scare you, it's to prepare you. If your enemy is at war with you, they're studying you to know how to defeat you. They're listening to everything you say, every move you make. Even in the 3D, an enemy that doesn't like you, friend, family, whoever, right? They know everything about you. They're listening to you. Do not be fooled. So if any enemy that wants to defeat you and destroy you is clever enough to know that there's power in listening, all I need to do is listen to this person, they're going to tell on themselves. They're going to show me their moves. They're going to show me what I need to do to defeat your enemy. You're going to have to listen, family. It does not matter how difficult it is to sit still. It's time to sit still. It does not matter how difficult it is to put down the distractions. It's time to put down or put away or silence the distractions. You can't save everybody. But be mindful that nobody is coming to save you. It's important that you listen so that you can learn how to save yourself. You cannot free your mind without listening. Your mind can be your most powerful thing or your worst enemy. Even your enemy knows that. But as each of us are given free will to decide what to do, what to choose, and how to move, that still stands, family. But the message for today is simple. There's power in listening. If you take the time to listen, you may learn something. Until the next time we meet, I am sending you peace and power for this journey. Namaste.